My name is Heather Wilson. I am the interim director here at Cameron Art Museum, and I was the project director for Boundless. We believe that art is a common language that we all share, and that art is a great connector that can bring people together. And it's important to us that we were able to contribute to the landscape of our built environment and to provide this positive counterpoint to the story that I think has been traditionally told in the South. We started looking for an artist that could embody that and an artist who could represent the bravery of these men and the strength of their bodies, the agency of these men. And I started looking at North Carolina artists and asking other museums across the state and the North Carolina Arts Council, and Stephen Hayes' name was on everyone's lips. So we got in touch with Stephen. We went through some different iterations. Stephen would make sketches and we would take them back to our story keepers. It became a real community engagement effort to get feedback about what we wanted as an institution and what we wanted as a community. This space has become and continues to become a space of healing, a space of conversation, a space of learning, and I think it's a space for social justice and change. Backpedaling 20 years ago, we moved to this site. This land was donated to us, and we knew that there had been some sort of Civil War activity here. We didn't really know the story, but we knew that we wanted to pay honor to that site and we wanted to be a good steward.
My name is Daniel Jones and I'm the cultural curator of Cameron Art Museum. So Boundless is a 40+ year project in the making. This permanent installation was installed in November 2021. The battle itself took place in February of 1865, and a lot had to transpire between those two dates in order for us to put this here. How did we not know in our own backyards, this place that was nicknamed the lifeline of the Confederacy, where almost half the town was enslaved, because Wilmington was about 47-48% of African descent. And this is that same place where thousands of Black men, free and formerly enslaved, took agency, picked up arms, liberated this town, and drove one of the final nails into the Confederate coffin. The connection between Wilmington and Richmond is strong because towards the end of the war, all eyes turned towards Wilmington. There's larger port towns throughout the South like Savannah and Charleston and New Orleans, but once all those were captured by the Union, Wilmington was the last major port town supplying Robert E. Lee's army. So we got the nickname the lifeline of the Confederacy during the last year of the war. It was a vital supply line to Virginia, its people, and Robert E. Lee and his soldiers.
As we started to get involved with the men that I now call our story keepers, the United States Colored Troops reenactors, we learned about the USCT soldiers who fought here, and they were fighting for their freedom. So it became imperative. I really feel like it was a moral obligation for us as an institution to bridge that gap between the historic Civil War site and the work of the Art Museum with a work of art that speaks to the bravery and the sacrifice of these men. One of the pieces that we wanted to do was to do research into the names of the men who fought here. We thought that a list existed of the names of the men who had fought at Forks Road. What we found out was that it did not.
In order to find out about the soldiers who fought here, we have to find the descendants because these are oral histories kept in the families. Documentation was not well kept for African Americans in the 19th century. So we're telling a very site-specific story here, but this story has branches that reach far outside of this city. So ways individuals and institutions can help is by just getting that call for descendants out there. As a matter of fact, most of our soldiers come from Virginia, the east coast of Virginia, as well as the Delmarva Peninsula. And so a big thank you to the American Civil War Museum for kind of putting that call to descendants out there for us, because there might be a lot of descendants walking around those areas.
The story really belongs to our story keepers. It belongs to the descendants of the United States Colored Troops. It belongs to the people in our community who are from here. It belongs to our African American community.
I got to meet the great-great-granddaughter of one of the names engraved on the back of that statue, and she had been doing family genealogy and research for the past 15 years. And she had kind of heard about this space, or heard about this battle, but at that time, the name Forks Road hadn't been coined yet, so she didn't really know where along the North Carolina coast it had happened until this piece was installed. She heard about it and she came and checked it out because she actually got a call from her cousin a week prior saying, you will not believe this, I'm at a museum called Cameron Art Museum and I'm looking at a statue with Granddad's name on it. And so she came over here and she told us her story. And so that's the reassuring thing about this piece of work, that it's connecting so many different people, young, old, all different backgrounds. It's really amazing.
We are continuing to be amazed by the community response to this work of art. We are continuing to curate musical concerts, storytelling, spoken word poetry, and programs that connect deeply with the story of the United States Color Troops, our local history, the story of African Americans in southeastern North Carolina, and how these things can be expressed and explored through art.